Welcome back to another edition of the Optimized Weekly Market Recap. I'm Matthew McGrath, and as always for today's recap, we'll take a look at last week's activity in the markets, as well as what we're watching for in the week ahead. It was certainly a strong week for Canadian equity markets, with the TSX posting a gain of 1.1% for the week, while the Dow followed behind with a gain of 79 basis points, the S&P up 45 basis points, and the Nasdaq finished the week relatively flat. Looking at sector performance, both energy and utilities were up over 3% on the week, driven higher by higher oil prices, whereas consumer discretionary and materials were by far the weaker performers. Looking at the events from this past week, we saw Thursday's monthly U.S. inflation report show little change from the month prior. September's overall annual figure of 3.7% was the same as the previous month. However, housing and energy expenses rose while food costs slipped. We also continued to see softening in the Canadian housing market. Home sales decreased 1.9% from August to September, following the renewed monetary tightening policy of the Bank of Canada. Decreases were observed in 8 of the 10 provinces, notably New Brunswick and Saskatchewan. Meanwhile, increases were registered in PEI and Alberta. Earnings season certainly got into full swing on Friday as 3 major U.S. banks reported third quarter results, and each one exceeded analyst expectations for net income and revenue. This is certainly a positive sign for equity markets as we head into this quarter's earnings season. For the week ahead on Tuesday, we'll get Canadian inflation data. These figures will be monitored very closely as we head into the Bank of Canada's interest rate announcement next week, and will likely play a factor in how policymakers move forward. On Wednesday, we'll get a look at the health of the U.S. housing market, and with earnings season now ramping up, we'll be watching earnings data for some key performers such as Goldman Sachs, Morgan Stanley, and Procter & Gamble this week. Certainly no shortage of excitement in the markets last week, with more to come in the weeks ahead. Until next time, thanks for watching and see you soon.